Okay, Wednesday. Yes, it's August 12th. This is your Bring Me the News and Novak Weather update. Now, I could talk to you about the next 48 to 72 hours for a good half hour on this update. I'll try not to, but there's a lot going on here for the second half of this coming week. And a lot of it has to do with not only some more heat now and some humidity that's going to be building between now and Friday, but then, of course, the introduction of severe weather. We've already had some showers and storms over the upper Midwest today. In fact, looking at the visible satellite loop, you can see here the storms were over southwestern Minnesota and southern Minnesota earlier today. And now they're starting to redevelop and reform here over central and east central Minnesota late this afternoon and now into early this evening. And you can kind of see, and I want you to keep an eye on this. This is what we call right here an instability gradient, right in this area here. It's much more humid. Dew points are much higher in south central and southwestern Minnesota than they are over western Wisconsin and northeastern Minnesota. And in between is where you're getting these thunderstorms to develop along this instability gradient. And I'm going to show you that a little bit more in depth as we go through this broadcast. Infrared satellite loop, of course, we are measuring the cloud temperatures when we look at an infrared satellite loop, and you can see these brighter yellows and oranges. These are cooling cloud tops. These are indicative of storms that are starting to re-intensify now. And yes, that's what's happening here over central and portions of eastern Minnesota as these storms fire again along this instability gradient that has developed across southern and portions of central Minnesota. And I think these storms are going to continue to intensify some here over the rest of the evening hours. So yeah, keep your umbrella handy, keep an eye to the sky, because we could certainly be experiencing thunderstorms across a good chunk of southern central Minnesota and portions of northwestern Wisconsin as we go through the evening and overnight hours. And then, of course, Thursday and Friday, and I'm very concerned about Friday, and I'll show you that here in just a little bit. Here's that instability gradient that I was talking about. Here's the Twin Cities Metro, and usually on the edge or on the nose of an instability gradient is where storms love to develop, and that's exactly what we have going on here this evening, early this evening, in southern and central Minnesota and western Wisconsin. Now, these are CAPE values, and of course, I often show you this map. This is from the NAM computer model guidance, and look at the high values of CAPE over southwestern Minnesota this evening. This is a very ripe and volatile environment that is trying to surge north and east into the rest of the state of Minnesota. And again, along and on the edge of that instability gradient is where storms are going to fire. And I think that's going to be the case here over the next 12 to 24 hours. Now, looking at CAPE values as we head into tomorrow, by the way, look at what happens over Minnesota. This is why I'm concerned about severe weather, not only tomorrow, but into Friday, because the atmosphere is just going to be volatile across much of Minnesota and the eastern Dakotas as we get into tomorrow evening. And then that even continues as we head into Friday evening. In fact, as you get to late afternoon Friday, take a look at some of these CAPE values now over central and eastern Minnesota. These are high values. These are CAPE values above in excess of 3,000 JKG. So yes, no doubt our environment will be set up for the potential for severe weather, not only tomorrow, but as we go through the day and evening on Friday. In fact, let's focus in on Friday. Friday really looks to be an interesting day, and I'm talking about all modes of severe weather. Yes, hail, strong winds, perhaps even a tornado or two across Minnesota and western Wisconsin. All of that, and flooding rains, all of that could occur here over the next 48 hours, but especially on Friday, because look at the wind fields on Friday evening, right around dinner time. These are the winds at 850 millibars. This is about 5,000 feet in our atmosphere. Look at how strong they are and coming up almost directly out of the south across central and eastern Minnesota and northwestern Wisconsin. Winds near or in excess of 40 knots. Now, as we go up into the atmosphere at 700 millibars, winds start to turn a little bit to the southwest, but they're still strong. And then at 500 millibars, which is at about 20,000 feet, our winds now are starting to come out of the west across Minnesota and across eastern Minnesota and western Wisconsin. So yeah, what you're seeing is we are getting a turning of winds as we go up to in the atmosphere, and that turning of winds will support the development of strong thunderstorms, some of them potentially supercells as we go through time. And yes, I think this is going to eventually develop into a squall line or a line of storms as we get into Friday evening. Now, again, I'm focusing on Friday, and this is what we call a skew-T diagram, and we also have what's called a hodograph here. And just a couple of things I wanted to show you. We have a very good signature on the hodograph of the upper level winds of producing what could be tornadic type of an environment on Friday. Again, I always look for what I call a Viking horn, or that symbol on a Viking helmet. If you can get that in the atmosphere, then you're looking at least the potential for tornadoes and strong thunderstorms. We also have what's called a loaded gun environment here setting up over southern and central Minnesota and western Wisconsin. That's where, as we go up in the atmosphere, and this is going up in the atmosphere right here, and again, I don't want to get too technical, but this is pretty interesting. Our environment dries out. These are dew points as you go up in the atmosphere, and look at how they become dry in the middle layers of our atmosphere. So if storms can blow up, and I think they will, if they can blow up on Friday afternoon and evening, they are going to tap into this loaded gun environment as we go up into the atmosphere and likely quickly develop supercells across southern and eastern Minnesota and Wisconsin. Now, as we go through future radar, and let's rewind this, here are the storms that are going through central Minnesota and western Wisconsin later this evening and overnight tonight. So yeah, it could be wet for many of us as we go through the overnight periods. We get a bit of a break tomorrow, and then we really focus on what happens out in northwestern Minnesota, northern Minnesota tomorrow evening. This is likely going to be a severe area of thunderstorms by tomorrow evening over about the northwestern third or northwestern half of Minnesota. They will drive east during the overnight hours, so I think a lot of us will be experiencing a bumpy overnight hours on Thursday night into Friday morning, and then our atmosphere reloads. And look at what the NAM-NEST computer model guidance shows for right around 4 or 5 p.m. Friday afternoon and into Friday evening. These likely are going to be supercells, I think, especially in the late afternoon and early evening hours over the heart of Minnesota. And I think these supercells are going to mean business, and this could be a widespread severe weather event as we get into Friday across much of Minnesota and into northwestern Wisconsin. In fact, I've highlighted almost the whole state of Minnesota for an area of potential for severe thunderstorms as we get into Friday. And yes, I'm concerned that a good chunk of south central, central, and then into eastern Minnesota will have a widespread outbreak of severe weather. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Storm Prediction Center upgrades our severe weather potential over Minnesota and northwestern Wisconsin as we go through the day tomorrow and then Friday as their forecasts come out. So a lot to talk about. Of course, we'll be updating you about that here on Bring Me the News and Novak Weather's Facebook site. So join us. We'll probably be going live too. You never know. It's going to be a busy 48 hours, so hang in there and keep an eye to the sky.